The morning of March 3rd, 1945, Iwo Jima. A 20-year-old Navy corpsman named George Wallen kneels in volcanic ash the color of crushed charcoal, his hands slick with another man's blood. Around him, the air doesn't move. It tears, shredded by machine gun fire, mortar blasts, and the screams of Marines who moments ago were advancing across 600 yards of open ground. Behind him, what's left of Fox Company, 2nd Battalion, 26th Marines, huddles in whatever depression the black sand offers. Ahead, on a ridge, the Marines call Hill 362. Japanese defenders fire from concrete pillboxes and spider holes invisible against the ash. The corpsman has already been wounded twice in the past week. A grenade blast on February 26th shredded his leg. Shrapnel tore into his back 4 days ago. Both times, he refused evacuation. Both times, he crawled back to his Marines. Now, as rifle rounds snap past his head, close enough to feel their passage, Wallen faces a choice that will define not just this moment, but the entire meaning of what it means to be a corpsman. In front of him, scattered across that killing ground, 23 Marines lie wounded, bleeding into ash that drinks blood like water. 23 men calling for Doc, 23 voices growing weaker with each passing second. Behind him, relative safety. Ahead, near certain death. This is not a story about superhuman ability. This is not a story about fearlessness. This is a story about a Jewish kid from Ogden, Utah, who learned that some promises matter more than survival. This is the story of George Wallen and the day he decided that saving lives was worth losing his own. But to understand that day, we must first understand the island that became hell. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the story, hit the subscribe button and let us know in the comments from where in the world you are watching from today. Iwo Jima. February 19th, 1945. The island rises from the Pacific like a volcanic fist. 8 square miles of black sand and sulfurous rock, 4 miles long, 2.5 miles wide at its broadest point. From above, it looks like a pork chop. From the deck of a landing craft, it looks like death itself. The island's name means Sulphur Island. Steam vents hiss along its beaches. The sand, ground from volcanic rock over millennia, is so fine, it swallows boots, clogs weapons, infiltrates everything. It's hot to the touch even in February. Walk across it, and you sink ankle deep with every step, each movement requiring twice the energy it should. But the sand and sulfur aren't why 70,000 Marines are about to storm these beaches. Iwo Jima sits 650 miles from Tokyo, directly on the flight path between the Mariana Islands and the Japanese mainland. American B-29 bombers, flying the 2,800-mile round trip to bomb Japan, need this island. They need its airfields for damaged bombers, making emergency landings. They need its fighters to escort the raids. They need to take away Japan's early warning radar. The Japanese know this. Lieutenant General Tadamichi Kuribayashi, commanding the island's defense, has spent 8 months turning Iwo Jima into the most heavily fortified island in the Pacific. 18 miles of tunnels, 750 pillboxes, blockhouses, and fortified caves, artillery positions carved into solid rock, machine gun nests covering every approach, and 21,000 Japanese soldiers who have sworn to die rather than surrender. Kuribayashi's orders are simple: no banzai charges, no wasted attacks, no dying for honor alone. Bleed the Americans white. Make them pay for every yard with blood. Force them to question whether this island is worth the cost. He expects to lose. He expects to die. But first, he will make the Marines suffer casualties they've never imagined. The American plan is equally simple. Overwhelm the defenses with firepower and manpower. 3 Marine divisions, 70,000 men. 3 days of naval bombardment, though the Marines requested 10. Land on the southeastern beaches, where the terrain allows. Capture Mount Suribachi, the 550-foot volcanic cone dominating the southern end of the island. Then push north, taking the 3 airfields, clearing the island sector, by sector. The planners estimate the operation will take 5 days, maybe a week. They're catastrophically wrong. At 0900 hours on February 19th, the first wave hits the beaches. The landing is unopposed, eerily silent. Marines scramble up the terraces of volcanic ash, expecting fire and receiving none. It's too easy, too quiet. Then the beaches fill with men, equipment, vehicles, supplies. The landing craft keep coming, wave after wave, until 30,000 Marines crowd onto those black sand beaches with nowhere to go. That's when Kuribayashi springs his trap. Artillery, mortars, rockets, and machine guns open fire simultaneously from positions the 3-day naval bombardment didn't touch. Couldn't touch, hidden in tunnels and caves that naval shells can't reach. The beach becomes hell. Men die before they can fire a shot. Landing craft explode. Equipment burns. The volcanic ash, churned by explosions, rises in choking clouds that mix with smoke and the spray from mortar rounds hitting the surf. The Marines push forward because there's no going back. They climb the terraces. They advance into the teeth of fire. They take casualties that would break most units and keep attacking. By nightfall, the Marines hold a beachhead, but at staggering cost. 566 dead, 1,855 wounded. The hospital ships offshore overflow with casualties. And this is just day one. The planners were wrong about the time. The battle will not take days. It will take 36 days of continuous combat. It will become the only Pacific battle where American casualties exceed Japanese casualties. It will kill 6,800 American servicemen and wound 19,200 more. Of the 21,000 Japanese defenders, fewer than 217 will surrender. The rest will fight until killed. And in the middle of this hell, in the volcanic ash and the machine gun fire and the grenade blasts, Navy Hospital corpsmen will do what they've always done. They will run toward the wounded while everyone else seeks cover. They will die trying to save Marines they've never met. They will earn more medals for valor than any other rating in the United States military. 23 corpsmen will die at Iwo Jima. Another 659 will be wounded seriously enough to require evacuation. In some battalions, corpsman casualties exceed 68%. The Japanese specifically target them because they know kill the corpsman and wounded Marines die. Kill the corpsman and morale breaks. But the corpsmen keep going. They always keep going. Ogden, Utah, August 8th, 1924. George Edward Wallen is born to Albert and Doris Wallen on family land in nearby Fairmount. He's the eldest of 3 children. The family is Jewish, observant, close-knit. They live modestly. The Great Depression hits when George is 5 years old, and modest becomes hard. Albert Wallen works in dry goods, whatever jobs he can find. The family is fortunate to have any income at all, while men all around them lose everything. Doris keeps the household together, raises the children, makes ends meet when ends refuse to meet. Young George learns early that sometimes you do what needs doing, whether you want to or not. At 13, George starts working at Hill Airfield, near Ogden. As an apprentice mechanic, he's good with his hands, good with machinery, good at figuring out how things work. He helps the family by earning whatever money a 13-year-old can earn during the Depression. He digs up night crawlers and sells them to fishermen. Every penny helps. He attends Pingree Elementary, grows up on Grant Avenue behind his grandmother's house, becomes the steady, reliable oldest child his family needs. He's not the biggest kid. He's not the toughest. But there's something in him, a quiet determination, a sense that when something needs doing, you step up. December 7th, 1941. Pearl Harbor. George Wallen is 17 years old when the Japanese attack. Like millions of young Americans, he wants to serve. Unlike most, he doesn't wait until he's 18. In June 1943, at age 18, Wahlen enlists in the United States Naval Reserve in Salt Lake City as a seaman apprentice. 1 week later, he reports for active duty. He completes recruit training at Naval Training Station, San Diego, California. The Navy sends him to Hospital Corpsman School. It's not what Wahlen wanted. He wanted to work on aircraft, use his mechanical skills. He tells the chief at Corps School he wants to be an aircraft mechanic. And the chief makes him a deal. Do well in Corpsman School, graduate near the top of your class, and we'll try to get you what you want. Wahlen studies every night until midnight. He graduates near the top of his class. He reminds the chief of the promise. The chief looks at him and says, "Wahlen, we need corpsmen more than mechanics. You're going to be a damn good corpsman." Wahlen is assigned to the Naval Hospital at Marine Corps Base, Camp Elliott, near San Diego. He learns his trade. He treats everything from training injuries to serious medical conditions. He's competent, thorough. The kind of corpsman who double-checks everything because mistakes cost lives. But it's peacetime medicine, stateside medicine, not what's needed in the Pacific. In February 1944, Wahlen transfers to the Fleet Marine Force Field Medical Service School at Camp Pendleton, California. This is where corpsmen learn to be combat corpsmen. This is where sailors become Marines, docs. The training is brutal. They teach you to move under fire, to treat sucking chest wounds while bullets snap overhead, to choose which wounded man gets morphine when you only have one cigarette left. They teach you that on the battlefield, you're a medic, a fighter, and sometimes the difference between a Marine going home or not. They teach you one other thing. Corpsmen die at higher rates than infantry. The Japanese specifically hunt you. They watch for the man with the medical bag. They wait until you're treating someone exposed, vulnerable, focused on saving a life, and then they kill you. Knowing this, Wahlen completes the training. Knowing this, he volunteers for a combat division. On November 1st, 1944, Wahlen is promoted to pharmacist's mate, 2nd class, and assigned to Fox Company, 2nd Battalion, 26th Marines, 5th Marine Division. The 5th Division is brand new, stood up specifically for the next big operation. Nobody knows where they're going. Everyone knows. It will be bad. Camp Tarawa, Hawaii, late 1944. The 5th Marine Division trains on the Big Island, preparing for whatever comes next. Wahlen trains with Fox Company, learning the men, learning who leads, who follows, who you can count on when everything goes wrong. He's their doc now, Doc Wahlen. The name follows him everywhere. Marines and corpsmen have a unique relationship. Marines don't have their own medics. They rely entirely on Navy corpsmen. In training, the relationship is professional, respectful. In combat, it becomes something else entirely. The corpsman becomes the most trusted man in the unit. When you're hit, when you're bleeding, when you're dying, you don't call for your sergeant or your officer or your mother. You call for Doc, and Doc comes. No matter the fire, no matter the odds, Doc always comes. Wahlen learns this at Camp Tarawa. He learns the weight of the responsibility. Every Marine in Fox Company is counting on him to be there when they need him. He's 20 years old. He's never been in combat. He's about to face the bloodiest battle in Marine Corps history. Days before Christmas, 1944, the 5th Division mobilizes. Wahlen is assigned to a hammock in the lower levels of the USS Hocking, a Haskell-class attack transport. The smell down there, body odor, and food and vomit from seasick Marines is overwhelming. Wahlen finds an excuse to stay topside as much as possible. He tells the officers that a corpsman should always be near his Marines, even on a ship. Permission granted. The convoy heads west across the Pacific. 880 ships, 70,000 troops. Their destination is classified, but everyone knows. There's only one island left before the Japanese home islands. Only one strategic target that makes sense. They're going to Iwo Jima, February 5th, 1945. The convoy reaches Enewetak Atoll near the Marshall Islands. February 12th, they reach Saipan, in the northern Marianas. On February 16th, they sight Iwo Jima for the first time. From the deck of the Hawking, the island looks small, insignificant. Mount Suribachi rises at the southern end, a dark volcanic cone. To the north, the ground rises in a series of rocky plateaus. The whole island looks dead, lifeless, just rock and ash, beautiful in a terrible way. The naval bombardment begins. 16-inch guns from battleships, 5-inch guns from destroyers, rockets from landing craft. For 3 days, the Navy pounds the island. The explosions are visible from miles away, the sound a continuous rolling thunder. Surely nothing can survive that. Surely the defenses are destroyed. The Marines know better. They've heard this before. Tarawa, Peleliu, Saipan. The Navy always says the defenses are destroyed. The Navy is always wrong. February 19th, 1945. D-Day. 0900 hours. Wahlen watches from the deck of the Hawking as the first assault waves hit the beaches. He can't see details from this distance, but he can see the explosions, the smoke, the orange flash of Japanese artillery. He can hear the thunder of naval guns providing fire support. He knows men are dying down there. His Marines. Fox Company. Fox Company isn't in the first wave. They're in reserve, landing later once the beachhead is secured. Except the beachhead isn't secure. Reports filter back. Heavy casualties. Fierce resistance. More Corpsmen were needed. Wahlen gathers his medical supplies. Standard Corpsman loadout. Morphine syrettes, battle dressings, sulfur powder, plasma, if you can carry it. You're supposed to be unarmed, a non-combatant protected by the Geneva Convention. But the Japanese don't recognize the Geneva Convention, and an unarmed corpsman is a dead corpsman. Wahlen carries a .45 caliber pistol, not to fight, to defend his patients. Fox Company loads into landing craft. The ride to shore is chaos. The landing craft buck and weave. Marines throw up from seasickness and fear. Water sloshes across the deck, and ahead, visible now, the beach, the black sand, the smoke, the wreckage of destroyed vehicles, bodies floating in the surf, and the sound, the terrible sound of sustained gunfire. Not like in training, not like at the range, but a continuous roar that seems to come from everywhere at once. The ramp drops. Wahlen hits the water. It's colder than he expected. Shocking. He pushes through the surf toward the beach, medical bag held high to keep it dry. Around him, Marines scramble forward. Something snaps past his head. He doesn't know if it's a bullet or shrapnel, doesn't matter. Keep moving. He reaches the beach and immediately faces his first casualties. A Marine lies in a shell crater, his leg twisted at an impossible angle. Another sits against a wrecked landing craft, pressing both hands against a wound in his side, blood seeping between his fingers. A third calls weakly for Doc. Wahlen runs toward them. This is it. This is what he trained for. This is what being a corpsman means. Welcome to Iwo Jima. Welcome to hell. The first week on Iwo Jima teaches Wahlen everything he needs to know about dying and nothing he wants to know about living. Fox Company pushes north from the beaches toward the first airfield. The Japanese don't retreat. They don't fall back. They fight from positions they've prepared for months, positions designed to maximize American casualties. Wahlen treats his first wounded Marine on D-Day, a 19-year-old from Nebraska, shrapnel in his chest. Wahlen's hands shake as he applies the battle dressing, but the Marine doesn't notice. He's focused on Wahlen's face, on the calm in Doc's voice, even as mortars fall around them. The Marine survives. Wahlen learns something crucial. The wounded don't need you to be fearless. They need you to act like you're fearless. February 26th, 1945. 1 week into the battle, Fox Company assaults a fortified ridgeline. Wahlen is moving with the lead platoon when a Japanese grenade lands 3 feet away. He sees it tumbling through the air, hears it hit the volcanic ash with a dull thud. There's no time to run. He throws himself flat. The grenade explodes. The blast lifts him off the ground and slams him back down. His ears ring. His left leg burns. He looks down and sees blood soaking through his trousers, shrapnel embedded in his thigh and calf. A corpsman treating Corpsman is awkward, but Valen patches himself up, injects morphine, and keeps moving. When his platoon commander orders him to the aid station, Valen refuses. His Marines need him. For the next 3 days, he treats wounded while barely able to walk. The leg swells. Infection threatens. He still refuses evacuation. On March 2nd, another grenade blast tears shrapnel into his back. This time, he can feel the hot metal fragments lodged between his shoulder blades. This time, the pain is immediate and overwhelming. This time, he passes out. He wakes up. In an aid station, a doctor is cleaning his wounds, preparing to evacuate him. Valen grabs the doctor's wrist. "Send me back," he says. "My company needs me." The doctor stares at him. "Son, you can barely stand. You've been wounded twice. You need surgery." Valen's response is simple. "There are Marines out there who need me more than I need surgery." Against medical advice, against common sense, Valen returns to Fox Company. His back is bandaged. His leg throbs with every step. He can't carry his full medical bag, so other Marines help him. They don't question why he came back. They know why. Because he's their doc. Because Doc always comes. March 3rd, 1945. Dawn breaks, grey and cold, over Iwo Jima. The Fox Company has orders to assault Hill 362, a volcanic ridge honeycombed with Japanese positions. The approach requires crossing 600 yards of open ground, volcanic ash offering no cover, every inch covered by interlocking fields of fire. Valen crouches with the company, checking his supplies. He's down to 12 morphine syrettes, maybe 20 battle dressings, a few packs of sulfur powder. It won't be enough. It's never enough. The company commander gives the signal. Fox Company rises and advances. The Japanese wait until the Marines reach the middle of the killing ground. Then they open fire. Machine guns, rifles, mortars, everything at once. Marines drop. Some are killed instantly. Others fall wounded, calling for Doc. Valen sees them, scattered across that terrible open ground. 23 wounded Marines between him and the enemy line. If you find this story engaging, please take a moment to subscribe and enable notifications. It helps us continue producing in-depth content like this. Everything in Valen's training, everything in his survival instinct, screams at him to stay low, to wait for covering fire, to let someone else go first. But he looks at those Marines. Some are 18 years old, some have wives, some have children they've never met, and every single one of them is depending on Doc. Valen stands. Bullets snap past immediately. A machine gun zeroes in, stitching rounds across the ash in a line that passes inches from his boots. He doesn't freeze. He runs. The volcanic ash grabs at his feet with every step. His wounded leg screams. His back burns where shrapnel still lodges near his spine. He zigzags, not following any tactical pattern, just moving, just running toward the first wounded Marine. The Marine has taken a round through the shoulder. Valen slides to a stop beside him, hands already reaching for a battle dressing. He tears open the Marine's uniform, packs the wound, injects morphine. Incoming fire forces him flat. He covers the Marine's body with his own until the burst passes. Then he's up again, moving to the next man. This Marine is worse. Stomach wound, intestines visible through torn flesh. Valen knows this Marine will likely die, even with treatment. But he treats him anyway. Battle dressing, morphine, sulfur powder. He whispers to the Marine that he's going to be fine, that the docs on the ship will fix him up. The Marine nods, believing him, needing to believe him. Third Marine, fourth, fifth. Valen moves across that killing ground like death cannot touch him. Bullets kick up ash around him. Mortars explode close enough to shower him with debris. A rifle round tears through his medical bag, destroying supplies. He keeps going. The Japanese cannot believe what they're seeing. One American, moving upright across open ground, treating wounded under fire. They concentrate their fire on him. Machine guns track his movement. Snipers take careful aim. Every Japanese soldier on that ridge is trying to kill him. And somehow, impossibly, He survives. Varlin doesn't think about survival. He thinks about the next Marine. Just the next one. Then the one after that. His morphine runs out. He uses battle dressings to mark which men need morphine when more arrives. His sulfur powder is gone. He improvises, using torn uniform pieces as bandages. 10th Marine, 15th, 20th. He's been running for over an hour. His legs barely function. His hands shake from exhaustion and adrenaline. Blood from his own wounds soaks through his bandages. He ignores everything except the wounded. A mortar round explodes 10 feet away. The blast throws him sideways. He lands hard, ears ringing, temporarily deaf. He lies in the ash, stunned, wondering if this is finally it. Then he hears it, faint through the ringing, a Marine calling for Doc. Varlin climbs to his feet. He staggers toward the voice. 21st Marine, 22nd, 23rd. The last wounded Marine is a corporal from 2nd Platoon. He's taken shrapnel to both legs and lost massive amounts of blood. He's barely conscious. Varlin kneels beside him, applying tourniquets, knowing this Marine won't survive without immediate surgery. He looks back toward the American lines. They're 200 yards away. The corporal can't walk. Varlin can barely walk himself. He grabs the corporal under the arms and drags him. Not carries, drags, pulling him through volcanic ash while Japanese fire continues around them. Every few yards, Varlin has to stop, gasping, his body screaming at him to quit. He doesn't quit. He pulls the corporal another 5 yards, another 10, another 20. Other Marines see what's happening. They lay down, covering fire, everything they have, forcing the Japanese to take cover. Under that protective wall of American fire, Varlin drags the corporal the final 100 yards to safety. He collapses beside the corporal, unable to move. Medics rush forward to take the wounded man. Someone tries to help Varlin to his feet. He waves them off. There are more wounded out there. There are always more wounded. But his body has finally reached its limit. He passes out. When Varlin wakes up, he's on a hospital ship, the USS Samaritan. Clean sheets, clean air. The smell of antiseptic instead of sulfur and death. A Navy doctor stands over him. "Son, you saved 23 men today." The doctor pauses. "And you probably should have died 23 times doing it. How many bullets do you think were fired at you?" Varlin doesn't know. Doesn't want to know. He asks about Fox Company. He asks about the Marines he treated. The doctor tells him most survived. The ones who made it to surgery had good chances. Because of Varlin. Because Doc kept them alive. Long enough. Varlin learns later that observers estimated Japanese forces fired over 500 rounds at him during that hour-long sprint across the killing ground. Machine gun rounds, rifle fire, mortar fragments, 500 attempts to kill one corpsman. All of them failed. On October 5th, 1945, President Harry Truman presents pharmacist's mate second class, George Edward Varlin, with the Medal of Honor. The citation reads in part, constantly imperiling his own life, he heroically administered first aid to wounded Marines and directed stretcher bearers throughout 3 days of intense fighting. It doesn't mention the 500 bullets. It doesn't need to. Varlin returns to Ogden, Utah. He marries Melba Laura Palmer. They raise 4 children. He never talks much about Iwo Jima. When asked about the Medal of Honor, he deflects, says he was just doing his job, says any corpsman would have done the same. But the Marines of Fox Company never forget. They write letters to Varlin for decades. They visit him. They tell their children and grandchildren about the day Doc Varlin ran across a killing ground to save them. At reunions, they still call him Doc. It's the highest honor they know how to give. George Varlin dies on June 5th, 2008, at age 83. He's buried with full military honors at Leavenworth National Cemetery in Kansas. His grave is visited regularly by Marines he saved, and by their descendants who exist because one corpsman decided saving lives mattered more than saving himself. The story of George Varlin isn't about that single hour on March 3rd, 1945. That hour was just when everything he believed crystallized into action. The Jewish kid from Utah who learned early that sometimes you do what needs doing. The corpsman who refused evacuation twice because his Marines needed him. The man who understood that some promises cannot be broken. When those 23 Marines called for Doc, Wahlen couldn't not answer. It wasn't courage, though it was courageous. It wasn't fearlessness, because he was terrified every second. It was something simpler and more profound. It was the promise every corpsman makes to every Marine. When you need me, I will come. No matter what, no matter the cost. 500 bullets couldn't break that promise. Nothing could. That's what made him run across that killing ground. That's what made him stand when anyone sane would crawl. That's what made him the embodiment of everything. The Corpsman rating represents not invincibility, not superhuman ability, just the stubborn, magnificent refusal to let Marines die alone. Thank you for watching. For more detailed historical breakdowns, check out the other videos on your screen now, and don't forget to subscribe.